Alright, so what's the deal with the lifetime pickleball, and why are pro pickleball players so divided over it? Federico Stocksrud tweeted, "This ball is a complete disaster." James Ignatowicz tweeted, "I love the lifetime pickleball." And Max Freeman tweeted, "F this ball." So, what's the deal? Well, we just played our first pro tournament with it this weekend in Atlanta, and I'm going to give you my perspective, but first, why are we even using this new ball on the PPA Tour? Well, the ball really isn't all that new. My sources, aka stalking the Lifetime Pickleball Instagram account, indicate that the ball was launched in November of 2024. From what I've heard, Lifetime gave the PPA and MLP an ultimatum: use our pickleball or lose our venues. With both the Atlanta Slam and the Orange County Cup being held at Lifetime facilities, it was a pretty clear choice. I try my hardest to stick to publicly available facts, so please note that this has not been confirmed to my knowledge, so take it with a giant grain of salt. Now, there are a couple of interesting technical specs here. The first thing I noticed was some sort of internal seam here. Based on that, I pretty much immediately thought that the ball was going to be horrible because other balls using this sort of binding haven't been great in the past, but I didn't notice any difference in the outcome when hitting close to the seam or far away from the seam. Next up, the holes are smaller compared to the Vulcan, and there are more of them, 48 compared to 40. They also have a sort of soft edges. It's hard to describe, but when I rub my finger across the ball, it doesn't catch the holes the same way that a Vulcan does, and I'd have to imagine that this contributes to some enhanced playability. I weighed both balls. They both came in at 26 grams. However, the Lifetime ball does feel slightly heavier to hit. My friends and I noticed a slight increase in arm soreness after switching to it, but that could also be a factor of we've been playing with nothing but the Vulcan ball for a year and a half at this point. And on the play side, the best way I could describe it is the difference between a tennis ball and a baseball. A new Vulcan ball feels much harder initially, like a baseball, and the Lifetime ball feels softer but springier, like a tennis ball. When the Lifetime ball hits either the ground or the paddle, it seems to compress a little bit more than a Vulcan, meaning that it's playing slightly faster and bouncing slightly higher. I can't explain the science behind it, but the Lifetime pickleball seems to spin considerably less than the Vulcan ball. However, I think that the Lifetime ball slows down more in the air due to more holes. The ball is fast, but I never got the sense that my shots were flying uncontrollably. Serving and returning deep in the court felt easier when compared to a Vulcan. But the main differentiator is I can't think of a single bad bounce from the Lifetime ball, nor did any of them go even the slightest out of round. It's probably the truest bouncing ball I've played with by a good margin, which actually introduces an entirely new strategy into the game, which is taking the ball on the rise. When the bounce is actually predictable, you can begin your swing before the ball even bounces, since you can have confidence as to where it's going to end up. Now, another interesting note, typically we change Vulcan balls every game at MLP and PPA.
New Vulcan ball, game 2, time in.
However, we were using a single Lifetime ball for entire matches, unless they went under the bleachers.
I will stay under there. Now it's Alshon who's going. He's going spelunking. It's like a crab walk. We have spelunking going on.
I feel like any ball will get spongier over time, but the delta between a new Lifetime ball and a match-used Lifetime ball felt smaller, meaning that I think it has a longer useful life. A 100-pack of the Vulcans costs about $250 before shipping, and the Lifetime balls cost about $329, so it's a good chunk more expensive. Now, the main problem from my end is that the ball is just ever so slightly so fast. If the springiness could be taken down 5 to 10%, I think it'd be a pretty perfect ball, but I think that the pros also outweigh the cons because of the consistent bounce. Now for the most important question, which ball does Arlo prefer? Okay, gentle. Oh, we like the Vulcan. Here you go, Mer. I don't have any financial incentives from Lifetime or Vulcan, so please consider subscribing. This reviewing stuff is kind of fun. Chris Olsen, your ass is on notice.